Hey y'all, welcome to my tutorial for lesson 61 by Sagreras. This is a really great solo if you haven't done too much in the way of arpeggios and you're just kind of getting into that solo playing phase. And before you get started playing the piece and learning all the notes, you're going to want to practice this right hand pattern that involves the thumb and then index and middle playing at the same time. And let's do this with the thumb on string 5 and index and middle on 4 and 3. This will be most of the time that you're playing this piece, these will be the strings that you're on. So we're going to play once with the thumb and then twice with index and middle. And as you play index and middle, let all of those fingers move together. Okay, so this will be the pattern. Concentrate on getting index and middle back to the string when the thumb plays, and the second time that index and middle play, you get the thumb back. So you're going to want to do that for quite a bit before you get started. Make sure that that feels comfortable, because if it doesn't, then just imagine how much more difficult the piece will be. Now, once you feel good about that pattern, you're ready to begin. And as you're learning this, what you're going to realize is that the melody of the piece is actually the bass notes. So you're going to want to make the bass melody, which you play with your thumb, the loud part, and the accompaniment, the index and middle notes, softer. So instead of having it all be the same volume, or some of y'all might think that the high notes would automatically be the melody and that should be louder. But here, it's actually the bass. So the bass will be loud, and the accompaniment will be soft. So this is how that'll sound for the first 4 measures. Okay. Another thing that I really like about this piece is the phrasing. This is a really good opportunity to work on phrasing because it's pretty clear what to do, and there's just some really nice ways that you can go about it. So there are going to be 2 different kinds of phrases in this piece. You're either going to have 4-measure phrases or 8-measure phrases. And the beginning, we have 2 4-measure phrases. And so you're going to want to crescendo through the first part of the phrase and decrescendo back off towards the end. So I'll play the first 8 measures and see if you can hear that. So here's the first phrase. Crescendo back off. Second phrase. Pretty similar. It's the same melody, we just have a couple chords that are different. Then this next phrase is 8 measures, starting with F. So don't lose the energy until the last 2 measures or so. So you'll crescendo for longer and keep the pulse up. Don't have any sort of rubato or any playing with time until maybe the very end. Then we have another 8-measure phrase. Sorry. So don't let up until the end. And then here we have one long phrase that takes us to the end. So don't let up until the very end there. And in that last phrase, you're also going to want to have a ritardando at the end. But instead of waiting for the last few notes to have a ritardando, let's start a little bit sooner. Let's start the ritardando before you get to the final melody note, the final bass note. So I'm going to play the last 4 measures and listen for the ritardando to start in the 3rd measure, or really in the 2nd measure that I'm about to play here. Between the notes D and B in the bass. Sorry. Because really the drama of the piece ends when we get that last C in the bass. So we want the ritardando before that moment. And it's okay to continue to slow down afterwards. Just make sure that you start it before you get to that C. Now, one other thing in this version that I have, in measure, let's see, this would be measure 25. We have an A and then F and A in the accompaniment. And it says to use fingers 3 and 2 here. However, I'm going to recommend that you use fingers 4 and 2. So the pinky will get F. And the reason is when we get to here, when we get to the C 2 measures later, our finger is free to play that. So it's just a bit slicker than what I have in the music here. And it's going to help you to be more smooth and connected there. Now, coming from right before that, so this is measure 24, we have D, A, and D. And this A actually carries over to the next measure. So when you go from measure 24 to 25, leave the middle finger down and only move that pinky across from second string to fourth string, and you're pretty good to go. So you may want to practice just that. You may want to try something like this. Just try going back and forth between those two measures. It's really good practice for pinky independence. And once you feel like you can nail that, you're home free. See if you can get a really good tone on those last few notes. I think that really makes a nice ending there. All right, this has been my lesson over Sagreras, lesson 61. Thanks for watching.